Welcome to Creator's Head Studio. I'm Tom Arcu, feature film producer, director, screenwriter, and novelist.
And I'm John Colton, creator of ColtonComics.com and writer of Paul Bunyan versus Dracula.
We're talking about AI and writer's block and new trailers from Jurassic World and also Fantastic Four. And oh my gosh, a whole bunch of copying going on. And you also have a take about these trailers.
I actually thought the Fantastic Four trailer looked pretty good.
Oh,
A common criticism I heard was everyone felt like Ben Grimm's voice should have been deeper and
right.
more gravelly.
Gravelly,
And
New York. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's hard to argue with,
I,
but I did love the way that the thing looked.
okay,
I
sure.
think it's the most comic accurate thing since
Okay.
the 1994 Roger Corman movie
Okay.
that, was never meant to be seen. I
Right.
think they made that just for a holding on to the rights type issue.
Exactly. That's the report. Yeah.
But I think that so far, that was the best thing that
Hmm.
we've seen on screen. We're about to see one I think that'll be better. It looks more Jack Kirby accurate,
Okay.
the newest one. Hey, tip of the hat to Roger Corman. So
Okay.
far, he's had the most accurate thing and the most accurate Doctor Doom.
Okay.
So,
Well,
credit where credit is due.
Roger Corman was an engineer. In fact, he would calculate how often there had to be action or whatever. That's how he approached his films. In fact, I read his book, How I Made 100 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime. So he approached it like an engineer. Not that was a particular fan, but hey, we would have had Little Shop of Horrors if there wasn't a Roger Corman. And Jack Nicholson, by the way, got one of his earlier roles in that film, being the very strange victim of the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors. So thank you, Roger
Huh.
Corman. Many blessings to you. Anyway, the detail that has me, uh, upside down. I know a number of Hollywood screenwriters, and they're blocked. They're stuck. And this AI thing is part of it because they're worried, but they're also shackled by many of the studios that they have to copy or use a formula to put things out. And for example, there are a number of people who are complaining about the Jurassic Park trailer saying, here we go again. We're back in another isolated island. And, we only got to the mainland like maybe two times and only for part of a couple of films. Can't we do something different and fresh? I mean, can't we write something? Well, there's many things I like to say about the Superman trailer, but one of the things I appreciate is that James Gunn took something real from his life. I mean, the Crypto, that dog looks like his real dog, and all his love and energy for his real dog is in the movie. It's in the trailer, and so that's fresh, and that's not a copy. And nobody typed into Chat GPT, what's the safe thing to do here in terms of bringing something fresh, personal, something that you love, and that when the filmmaker loves something, it's possible that they can transference of energy can go to the audience.
That's a good point. I'm optimistic about both. I
Okay.
think the Jurassic World trailer looks like it could potentially be the fourth best Jurassic movie. And for my money, the best one, if I'm ranking them, one, two, and three go in the
Oh,
order of one, two, and three.
there you are.
So
Sure.
Jurassic Park is the best one, Lost World is the second best, and Jurassic Park 3 was the third best film so far.
Gotcha.
Jurassic World, I don't really count because it's just Jurassic Park recycled.
Hmm.
And
That's what we're talking
it's
about.
right. And so it supposedly has better CGI. To me, that's not a plus. Like
Right.
if it had better practical effects, that would be something, and that would
Sure.
be
Well,
something to talk about. As far as the writer's issue goes, I think if you're really a writer
hmm.
and you don't just write when you're getting paid,
Yes.
I think,
Wow, that's
and
powerful.
I
Yeah.
think if you're great at it,
Hmm.
you're going to find a way. Now, life finds a way, right?
Yes.
Now, so,
I knew that had to
uh,
get in here somewhere. Imagine you could protect yourself. using my course. This is David Blue's experience.
This was, April this last year, 2024. I was just waiting for my bus, and I was punched in the middle of my back out of nowhere. I spun around. I saw this very young, heavyset, muscular man, big helmet, visor over his face. At the same time, there's nothing physically I could do. I'm a 64-year-old man. This is the big strapping guy with big, strong shoulders and stuff. So I called him a coward. That's what he was. I said he was not a man. You are a little boy pretending very hard and failing. I went on to call him coward a lot more, saying this over and over again. It became more and more clear that I was right, because he never even lifted the visor, never even let me see his eyes, never took the helmet off, so he never revealed his face. And I said all this to him. You are afraid to see me. You are a coward. That's why I'm talking to you. That's why I continue to say things to you, because that's the only way I'm safe. You will punch anyone who can't see you. You will never attack anyone who's actually looking at you. He eventually skittered off.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. The power of your words, the power of your spirit, that is something. I am so glad to know this. It means so much to me that my students and friends are getting value from my course. What about my course put you in that space?
I can feel intuitively a strong correlation between exactly this sort of thing. You later mentioned it to me. I did have this sense, and you later pointed it out, that there was very, very much a thing of programming someone.
Well
Michael
done.
Crichton, for all intents and purposes, was really a screenwriter. He was writing scripts and directing movies.
Right.
And then he kind of just started writing books. But I think he had stories that he had to share.
Right. By the
And
way,
things that he was interested in researching that he had to share with some audience.
right. And I met him. And sitting down, he was as tall as I was standing up. I mean, he was a guy who was really, a long trunk, you might say. But what a good energy about. I mean, the guy was happy. At least that day when I met him in San Francisco at a bookstore. Oh, bookstores, we have a few left. But when I met him, and I did buy and did get a signature of a book called Airframe, not one of my favorite ones of his. But the point though is that he loved writing, he loved research, he loved going into these worlds and making things happen. And in fact, there's a recent book, it might be called Eruption, that his heirs have teamed up with James Patterson. So here's the thing. There is still some of his joy of writing that's still coming to the world with the assistance of James Patterson. And let's come back to the whole idea about writers being blocked. I have two major ideas that I want to share because it's breaking my heart when I call up certain friends who are Hollywood screenwriters and they're not writing. I am very careful because some people, they want you to be their advocate. I even said to one of my friends, I said, so is there a character in one of your screenplays that didn't sell that you'd like to transport into a new script? Because you just love this character and you could make something else happen with it. I was just trying to find some way to get the person to start. So my first idea is I say, start and play with it. Just today, I was just playing with some dialogue. And I just started off, let's say there's two guys. This won't be exactly what I wrote, but two guys, and one guy's Joe, and he'll be the deeper voice, even though I'm under the weather, so I my voice is different than usual. But the point is, Joe is the deeper voice, and then this current voice will be Sam. I just started off with Joe saying, "Tell me what? Look, you're going to tell me anyway. Just tell me now. Oh, there's nothing going on. Look, you're wasting time. All right, all right. Your mother's going to be here tomorrow. Does she know?" I had no idea that the script would end up with "Does she know?" I had no idea that the way that one character was going to push the other guy is that that guy has a hassle about wasting time. But only by starting and playing with it can I find anything. Now, I know somebody else would type into ChatGPT, give me a scene with a guy named Joe and a guy named Sam, and they're arguing over something, or, or they're arguing over time or something like that. And they might start that way, but where's the fun? Where's the freshness? Where's the surprise? Where's the delight? See, when I start writing, I've written 4 novels. They're all in this series called Gently Storm. I write about 40,000 words where I'm writing scenes and dialogue and I'm learning about the characters as they go along. So every day I sit down, it's delightful to learn about these characters. I even wrote a book about how to write a novel. And I said, how to believe in yourself, write and complete your novel. The idea is you got to start and you got to play with it.
It's the old idea that, an object at rest tends to stay at rest. An
Newton,
object
right?
in motion tends to stay in motion.
Right,
So you have to be making and creating something. Maybe there's not, a job right now with a TV show,
right.
but, write that novella, write that short story,
Yes,
make a comic book.
right.
I think of that Jennifer Lopez movie.
Yeah,
I,
Marry Me. I liked it. I had
yeah,
fun.
that was based off of a comic book, was primarily on Facebook. There was enough story there
Yes,
that they sold the rights.
right.
And
And they made a
and
film.
so there's nothing to gain by doing nothing.
Right.
So,
And
right?
right. Well, to carry on to that, okay, so at one point I was writing one of my novels and I hired an editor. And I've worked with editors in different situations, and there are some really great ones, but I happened to run into a bad one. Someone who let big mistakes go through. And I felt betrayed. But then I came up with an idea because that's what we creators do. We keep on creating ideas and stuff like that. Who loves me? Who cares about me? How can I get the support I need? And I came up with an idea I call 545, meaning that I would call up a friend and say, hey, tell me what you're working on for like 5 minutes. And they would read whatever they're working on. And then we would talk about it. I would have some comments. First thing I would do is to say, is there anything about this that you're concerned about? So then they would tell me what is relevant, what they want to talk about. And then I would read what I'm doing to them for 5 minutes. So it's 5 minutes of material for 5 minutes of material. And I came up with this because I noticed that you can keep about 5 minutes of material in your head to talk about it. But if someone reads to you for 15 minutes, you lose the beginning, you lose the middle. You get it's
Yeah, that
the
makes sense.
so 545. But here's the thing: this is support of humans with humans. And I talk a lot about the sacred space. Like we have a sacred space as writing partners, is that we got each other's back to the effect of that. If I'm working on a separate project and I bring something to you, I know that if I'm heading for a crash into something, you'll say, Tom, I think if you go that way, smash. You got to pick your allies and then you got to hang out. And if all you got is a little bit of time, how about 545?
It's something that is very misunderstood, how
Hmm.
much being a creative person, even if you're a solo act, it's
Hmm.
still a team sport.
Right.
I want to circle back to
Hmm.
that Fantastic Four and Jurassic World trailers.
Yes.
So I'm optimistic, okay?
Okay,
So
I want to
about
hear.
Fantastic Four. This is the fourth iteration of the Fantastic Four, more if
Okay.
you count the cartoons. This is the fifth movie
Okay.
that they've made,
Hmm.
and I think they might get it right.
Oh.
The things that kind of were Easter eggs for me
Hmm.
was the first line they talk about, welcome to the Baxter Building.
Okay.
And if you are a fan of the comic book, you know the Baxter Building is like one of the characters. And the other thing was the fantastic car,
Okay.
seeing that and kind of this, I guess, retro futuristic looking vehicle. That
Sure.
was awesome. I can't wait to
Okay.
see what they do with that.
Hmm.
And the other thing I loved was Herbie the robot.
Hmm.
And back in the day, they made a Fantastic Four cartoon.
Ah.
And I think this was, I want to say the 60s, and maybe it went into the 70s,
Hmm.
but that's where they introduced Herbie the robot. And the reason Herbie the robot appeared in that cartoon was the producers at the time did not want to use the Human Torch because they were scared that children would set themselves on fire
Oh, okay.
if they saw this character. So he got swapped out for this robot,
Oh, wow.
and so now he's kind of making a comeback. And so
Okay.
just the fact that they're kind of picking a lot of the fun elements right from the comic pages, right from the cartoon,
Gotcha.
and translating that into the film, it looks like there's hope,
Good.
right?
Now I'll
Because
wait.
thus far, like I said, there have been four Fantastic Four movies, and by all accounts, the best one is called The Incredibles.
Oh,
And that,
yes, yes. One of my favorite films. Yes.
but the people making this movie, hopefully, I
Hmm.
would assume, have seen The Incredibles. So they know how to hit those right notes.
Right.
If they just take what's been done before and then add to it.
Okay.
And
I
I
do.
think with them talking about family, everything
Yes,
else, it looks like it's going to work.
I'm with you. And you nailed it with the family thing. Putting that in there, that's essential. But there was one essential thing that I think they're just saving for the full trailer. It's clobbering time. The thing
Yeah.
the thing has got to say that, and we've got to hear that gravel in the voice.
I hope they can take the feedback that they've got from because the teaser's been a huge hit.
Mhm.
It's got over 200 million views,
Oh, wow.
just in
Excellent.
a couple of days.
Well, that's terrific.
And hopefully, because that has been a main point of feedback,
Oh,
but you can always edit the audio.
sure.
That
I've done
that's it.
it.
That's a super easy thing to fix. The Fantastic Four fans that are complaining about it
Right.
are the people who might go see the movie four times if you do it
Right.
right.
Well,
So you better do it right.
exactly. And that's
Now, as far as Jurassic World, what
mhm.
has me optimistic about that is Scarlett Johansson. It
Me
was
too.
really nice seeing a fresh character,
Yeah.
and she's just really affable
Yes.
and great to watch on screen.
Hmm.
The other thing that has me excited, it's like Jeff Goldblum said in the first Jurassic Park, you are going to eventually have some dinosaurs on your dinosaur ride, and
Yes, indeed.
it it looks
In
like
your
this
movie?
movie, you're going to have some dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie.
Yes.
Which the last one did not, so that was kind of a major disappointment.
Right.
And,
Right.
and this one looks like it's going to be dinosaurs versus
Wall to
guns,
wall.
which
Yeah.
looks like it's just going to be a lot of fun at the movies. Kind of like The Lost World was. They've kind of come back to having some elements of a horror film.
Okay.
And I think that's when these films work, is when they're scary.
Right. And also kind of an Alfred Hitchcock kind of suspense thing where you draw it out and you're feeling the suspense and like for example, in the first one where they're in the kitchen and two raptors are coming in and they're looking for them and all that kind of stuff. This thing has been fast tracked really fast and they announced it and then maybe a couple of months later then they said oh by the way our director is Gareth Edwards who of course is known for Godzilla. He's also known for Rogue One, which
Yeah.
got me to cry at the end. This guy
Yeah.
can move you either with the spectacle of Godzilla or with what he accomplished in Rogue One.
It is the best of the Disney Star Wars movies. I
Right,
think that's hands down, almost irrefutable.
right.
But that's one thing that they got right,
Hmm.
is bringing in a star director.
Right.
Because Jurassic Park is kind of like Superman
Hmm.
in that Superman is the star.
Right.
You don't need a movie star. Like when
Hmm.
they were casting the Christopher Reeve Superman, they considered John Travolta for Superman
We
because
have
he
an
was the star at
episode.
the time.
Yeah, we have an
And,
episode that
and,
they
and
they tried
yeah, and
Sylvester Stallone.
people already love dinosaurs.
Yes.
The dinosaurs are the star, you know.
Yes.
So you got to have dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie. If there's a second star, it's the director.
So we've been talking about these trailers. I'm delighted that you are optimistic. I do admit I had a bit less optimism about them. And then the other thing I want to say, though, is that we've got to, as creators, start things, play with things. As you said, if you are a writer, you're going to be writing even when you're not paid. You're going to be writing just to keep Uh, what I like to refer to is a saxophone player. They play because they have to keep up their chops. That is their how their mouth works to play the saxophone. And I know this for a fact because I used to be a singer in a band. I can't sing worth nothing because I have not kept up my chops. But I can write because I write every day. So no matter what AI does, we as creators, we as writers, we will start something, we will play with it, we will explore it, and we will get some allies and we will support each other. And by the way, thank you so much for supporting us. And as I tend to say, I got a team member who always says, show the merchandise, Creator's Edge. And so there it is. And we have mugs and other things too. Yes, it's at Redbubble, and check it out. And so we're grateful that you're with us. We're growing, and we'd love to see how you respond to all of this in the comments below. So like and subscribe and comment, and we'll be delighted to see what you say. Thank you.
Yeah, and if there was something you didn't like and you think we're totally wrong about,
Oh, yeah.
comment below. Let us
Yeah,
know.
we can learn. That's the other thing. Don't talk about just learning machines and AI. Talk about learning humans. Thank you much. Catch you next time.